Have you ever noticed that some people never seem to get pulled into unnecessary drama? No matter how much they're criticized, provoked, or misunderstood, they remain calm. They don't argue to prove a point. They don't chase approval. They don't waste their energy explaining themselves to people who have already decided what to believe. Instead, they quietly protect something far more valuable than their reputation, their peace of mind. Many people mistake this silence for weakness. They assume that if someone doesn't fight back, they must be afraid. If someone walks away from conflict, they must have lost. But what if the opposite is true? What if silence isn't surrender at all? What if it's one of the strongest forms of self control a person can develop? This is one of the biggest misunderstandings about the Sigma mindset. Sigma men don't protect their peace by controlling other people, they protect it by controlling themselves. They understand that not every opinion deserves a response, not every insult deserves a reaction, and not every battle deserves their time. While others become trapped in endless arguments and emotional chaos, they choose something different. They choose clarity over confusion, discipline over impulse, and inner strength over constant validation. The truth is, protecting your peace isn't about avoiding people or pretending emotions don't exist. It's about recognizing what deserves your attention and having the courage to let go of everything that doesn't. Every unnecessary argument you avoid, every toxic relationship you leave behind, and every negative opinion you refuse to carry gives you more energy to invest in the life you actually want to build. Psychologists often describe this as emotional self regulation, the ability to manage your emotional responses instead of allowing other people to control them. Mentally resilient people understand that every reaction has a cost. If you react to everything, you eventually become exhausted. But if you choose your responses wisely, you protect your confidence, your focus, and your emotional well being. In today's video, we're going to explore how Sigma men protect their peace without saying a word. These aren't tricks or manipulative tactics. They're quiet habits that help emotionally strong people stay calm, focused, and in control even when life becomes difficult. As you watch, ask yourself one simple question: am I protecting my peace, or am I giving it away to people who haven't earned it? And if you're passionate about psychology, the Sigma mindset, and self improvement, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Every week, we share powerful insights that will help you build confidence, strengthen your mindset, and understand human behavior on a deeper level. Now, let's discover the silent habits that separate emotionally strong Sigma men from everyone else. They don't react to every provocation. One of the first things that separates Sigma men from everyone else is their ability to stay calm when others try to provoke them. Most people believe they have to respond to every insult, defend themselves against every accusation, or prove a point whenever they're challenged. Sigma men see things differently. They understand that every reaction costs energy, and not every situation deserves that price. When someone tries to provoke them, they don't immediately become angry or defensive. Instead, they observe. They recognize that many people create conflict simply to get attention or to pull others into emotional drama. By refusing to react, the Sigma man quietly takes away the very thing the other person was hoping to receive: an emotional response. This doesn't mean he's weak or afraid of confrontation. In fact, it takes far more strength to remain calm than to lose control. Anyone can react with anger, but very few people have the discipline to stay composed when emotions are running high. Sigma men also understand that people reveal a lot about themselves through the way they treat others. Someone who constantly insults, criticizes, or provokes is often fighting battles within themselves. Instead of taking every attack personally, the Sigma man recognizes that not every opinion deserves his attention. By choosing silence over unnecessary conflict, he protects something far more valuable than his ego: his peace of mind. He knows that winning an argument is meaningless if it costs him his emotional balance. At the end of the day, the strongest response isn't always a clever comeback. Sometimes it's the decision not to respond at all. Sigma men understand that true power isn't shown by reacting to every challenge. It's shown by having complete control over when to speak, when to walk away, and when silence says everything that words never could. They walk away from toxic people. One of the most powerful ways Sigma men protect their peace is by refusing to stay around toxic people. They understand that not every relationship is worth saving, and not every person deserves unlimited access to their time, energy, or attention. Instead of trying to fix everyone or constantly explaining themselves, they quietly walk away from relationships that repeatedly drain them. Many people stay in unhealthy friendships, relationships, or work environments because they're afraid of being alone. They tolerate disrespect, manipulation, and constant negativity, hoping things will eventually change. Sigma men think differently. They know that being alone is far healthier than being surrounded by people who steal their peace of mind. This doesn't mean they give up on people after one disagreement. They believe in communication, respect, and second chances. But they also recognize patterns. If someone repeatedly lies, manipulates, disrespects boundaries, or creates unnecessary drama, the Sigma man doesn't waste months trying to change them. He accepts that not everyone is meant to stay in his life. Perhaps the most interesting part is that he doesn't announce his departure. He doesn't seek revenge or start arguments. He simply becomes less available, creates distance, and invests his energy in people who bring honesty, loyalty, and mutual respect into his life. His silence isn't punishment, it's protection. Sigma men also understand that every relationship influences their mindset. Spending too much time with negative people eventually affects your own thoughts, emotions, and confidence. That's why they're extremely selective about who they allow into their inner circle. Walking away is never easy, especially when you've invested time and emotions into someone. But Sigma men know that protecting their mental health is more important than holding on to relationships that no longer serve them. Sometimes the strongest decision isn't fighting harder. It's quietly leaving a place where your peace is constantly under attack. They protect their time and energy. Sigma men understand something that most people learn far too late. Time and energy are the two most valuable resources you will ever have. Unlike money, once they're gone, you can never get them back. That's why they are extremely careful about where they invest both. While many people say yes to every invitation, every favor, and every unnecessary obligation, Sigma men are far more selective. Before committing to something, they ask themselves a simple question: is this worth my time and energy? If the answer is no, they have no problem walking away. This doesn't make them selfish, it makes them intentional. They know that every hour spent on meaningless drama is an hour that could have been spent improving themselves, learning a new skill, building their future, or simply enjoying peace and quiet. They refuse to allow distractions to steal time they'll never get back. They're also careful about where they invest their emotional energy. They don't spend days arguing with strangers online or trying to convince people who have already made up their minds. They understand that not every opinion deserves a response, and not every disagreement deserves a debate. Instead, they focus on the things they can actually control. They put their energy into their goals, their health, their personal growth, and the people who genuinely appreciate their presence. This mindset allows them to stay productive while avoiding the emotional exhaustion that comes from constantly reacting to everything around them. Another reason Sigma men protect their energy is because they understand that a tired mind makes poor decisions. When you're mentally exhausted, it's much harder to think clearly, stay disciplined, and remain emotionally balanced. That's why they don't feel guilty about taking breaks, spending time alone, or stepping away from situations that constantly drain them. At the end of the day, Sigma men don't measure wealth only by money. They measure it by the amount of peace, focus, and freedom they have. By protecting their time and energy, they protect the very foundation of the life they're trying to build. They master the power of silence. One of the most misunderstood habits of Sigma men is their silence. Many people assume that quiet individuals have nothing to say or lack confidence. In reality, Sigma men often remain silent because they understand that words have value, and not every situation deserves them. They know that silence can communicate confidence, self-control, and wisdom far more effectively than endless talking. When someone insults them, they don't always rush to defend themselves. When people gossip, they don't feel the need to join in. When others argue just to prove they're right, Sigma men often choose to observe rather than participate. They understand that speaking less allows them to think more, and thinking more helps them make better decisions. Silence also gives them an advantage. While everyone else is busy talking, they're listening. They notice details that others miss. They pay attention to people's actions, body language, and true intentions instead of being distracted by empty words. This ability helps them understand people on a much deeper level. Another reason Sigma men value silence is because they don't feel the need to explain every decision they make. They know that some people will misunderstand them no matter how much they talk. Instead of wasting energy trying to convince everyone, they allow their actions to speak louder than their words. Over time, consistent actions always earn more respect than long explanations. Of course, silence doesn't mean avoiding communication. Sigma men speak when it matters. They express their thoughts clearly, honestly, and with purpose. The difference is that they don't speak just to fill empty space or satisfy other people's expectations. In today's world, where everyone is constantly sharing opinions, reacting instantly, and seeking attention, the ability to remain silent is becoming increasingly rare. Sigma men understand that silence isn't weakness, it's discipline. It's the confidence to know that you don't need to respond to everything in order to prove your value. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can make is saying nothing at all. A calm mind doesn't need constant validation, and a truly confident person knows that silence often leaves a stronger impression than words ever could. They stop seeking validation. One of the greatest reasons Sigma men protect their peace is because they no longer depend on other people's approval. They don't measure their worth by the number of compliments they receive, the amount of attention they get, or how many people agree with them. Their confidence comes from within, not from the opinions of strangers. Many people spend years chasing validation. They post online hoping for likes, change their personality to fit in, or make decisions based on what others might think. The problem is that approval is temporary. The moment your confidence depends on someone else's opinion, you've given them the power to control your emotions. Sigma men refuse to live that way. They understand that, no matter what they do, some people will support them while others will criticize them. Instead of trying to satisfy everyone, they focus on staying true to their values and personal goals. They know that living an authentic life is far more important than living an impressive one. This mindset also protects them from unnecessary disappointment. When they succeed, they don't need applause to feel proud of themselves. When they're criticized and unfairly, they don't allow those opinions to destroy their confidence. They listen to constructive feedback, but they don't confuse criticism with truth. Because they aren't constantly seeking validation, Sigma men make decisions more freely. They choose careers they believe in, build relationships based on respect instead of popularity, and pursue goals that genuinely matter to them. Their happiness isn't controlled by public opinion because they know that trying to please everyone is a battle that can never be won. The strongest confidence isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention or constant reassurance. It's quiet, steady, and built on self-respect. Sigma men understand that when you stop chasing validation, you stop giving other people control over your peace of mind. And once your confidence comes from within, very little in the outside world can shake it. They choose inner peace over winning arguments. Most people believe that winning an argument means proving the other person wrong. Sigma men see it differently. They understand that many arguments have no real winner. Even if you prove your point, you may lose something far more valuable: your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. When someone disagrees with them, they don't feel an automatic need to defend every opinion. They know that some people aren't looking for understanding. They're simply looking for a fight. Trying to convince someone who has already closed their mind is like talking to a wall. No matter how strong your argument is, nothing changes except your level of frustration. This is why Sigma men carefully choose which conversations deserve their attention. If a discussion is respectful and both people are willing to listen, they'll gladly share their perspective. But the moment the conversation turns into insults, ego, or unnecessary drama, they quietly step away. They don't see walking away as losing. They see it as protecting what matters most. Another reason they avoid pointless arguments is because they understand that not everyone is meant to understand them. Some people will judge you based on their own experiences, beliefs, or insecurities. Instead of wasting hours trying to change someone's opinion, Sigma men accept that being misunderstood is sometimes part of life. They also realize that actions are more convincing than words. Rather than arguing about who they are, they let their behavior speak for itself. Over time, consistency earns more respect than endless debates ever could. Choosing peace over conflict doesn't mean avoiding difficult conversations. It means recognizing the difference between a meaningful discussion and a pointless battle. One helps you grow, while the other only drains your energy. In the end, Sigma men know that protecting their inner peace is a victory in itself. The strongest person isn't always the one who wins the loudest argument. Often, it's the one who has enough wisdom to walk away from a battle that never needed to be fought. They let their actions speak for them. One of the most powerful habits Sigma men develop is allowing their actions to speak louder than their words. In a world where many people constantly seek attention, make promises they never keep, or try to impress others with endless talk, Sigma men understand that real respect is earned through consistent actions, not impressive speeches. They don't feel the need to announce every goal they're working on or explain every decision they make. Instead of telling people how disciplined they are, they quietly show it through their daily habits. Instead of arguing about their value, they continue improving themselves until their results become impossible to ignore. This mindset protects their peace because they don't waste energy trying to convince people who have already made up their minds. They know that some people will judge them no matter what they say. Rather than defending themselves in every situation, they focus on living with integrity. They believe that time always reveals the truth, and genuine character can never stay hidden forever. Another reason Sigma men rely on actions is because actions build trust. Anyone can make promises, but only consistent behavior proves who a person truly is. Whether it's keeping their word, showing up when it matters, or staying committed to their principles, they let their behavior become their reputation. This doesn't mean they never speak. When something important needs to be said, they communicate clearly and honestly. The difference is that they don't use words to seek validation or attention. They use them with purpose. At the end of the day, people may forget what you said, but they rarely forget how you lived. Sigma men understand that the strongest message they can send isn't through endless explanations, it's through the quiet consistency of their actions. When your life reflects your values, you no longer need to convince people who you are. Your actions will do it for you. Silence isn't about avoiding people, it's about protecting your energy. Peace isn't about escaping every problem, it's about choosing which battles are truly worth fighting. That's the lesson behind the Sigma mindset. The habits we've explored today aren't about becoming cold, emotionless, or distant from the world. They're about developing the wisdom to protect your mental and emotional well being in a world that's constantly demanding your attention. Every time you walk away from unnecessary drama, refuse to seek validation, or choose self control over emotional reactions, you're building a stronger and more peaceful life. Remember, true strength isn't measured by how loud you are or how many arguments you win. It's measured by how well you control yourself when life tests your patience, your emotions, and your character. Now, here's a question for you. Which of these Sigma habits do you think is the hardest to practice in today's world? And which one are you already using in your own life? Share your answer in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and your experience might help someone else who is trying to protect their own peace. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Every week, we explore psychology, the Sigma mindset, self-improvement, and the hidden habits that help you build confidence, emotional control, and inner strength. Thank you for watching. Protect your peace, trust your actions more than your words, and never let temporary noise distract you from the life you're trying to build. See you in the next video.